Hey yo, what's good? It's me, Saul. Welcome to the video. Hope you're having a great day today. I got a comment recently asking me if I could give a little bit of detail on what players should use their expiring ranked tickets on, and I thought, you know what, that wouldn't take too much time to go over. I can just go into the ranked duels and see what the rewards are and kind of just highlight the cards that I think are worth it. This shouldn't take too long. Let's get started. Now, before we begin, there's two things. One is that there are varying types of tickets, and I don't mean that there's normal, rare, super rare, and ultra rare tickets. That's obvious, but between normal, you have glossy normal and regular normal. You have glossy rare, you have regular rare. You have glossy SR, you have regular SR, and then you also have prismatic tickets and so on and so forth. The difference, the biggest distinction between those is, in some instances, there are cards that you can get with the glossy and prismatic tickets that you can't get using the regular tickets. So I'm going to be going over the regular UR cards, the glossy SR cards, the glossy R cards, and the glossy normal cards, and then we're going to circle back around to go over the glossy and prismatic UR cards, right? Because it's all slightly different, and I just wanted to give you a holistic opinion. The last heads up before we start is to like the video if you enjoy the content, the soothing tones of my voice, and to subscribe if you'd like to join the Nakama, just be part of the family. Thank you so much for your time. Let's begin. So we're starting off looking at the ranked UR tickets, and the first one I want to highlight is Cyber Angel Isna. Now, this is only relevant if you're building Cyber Angels because it's archetype specific, as a lot of these cards will be, but the thing about it is, if you are building that archetype, this is a useful card to have in your back pocket. It can make multiple attacks on your opponent's monsters, and not to mention, it can quickly destroy cards in certain situations, so it's worth the, well, not buy because it's free. Likewise, if you have any intention of ever playing Duel or Duel Fire Kings, you need to get the Ultimate Nightmare, and you also need to get the Terror Incarnate versions of Duel that are in the ranked ticket shop effectively. They're very useful for that archetype because you're ranking up and going through the monsters successively, so you need to make sure that you have them so you can actually play the strategy through. Moving quite a ways down, we have Dark Flare Dragon. This is a level 5 dragon monster. It's very, very useful because you can banish one light and one dark monster from your graveyard, special summon this card onto the field. This goes very, very well in Gaia because the field spell can search this card out of your deck. So if you plan on buying into the Gaia structure deck, maybe you're a new player, maybe you're an existing player who wants to play that archetype, this is a great card to include in the strategy. You can also discard a card and send a card from your deck to the graveyard, specifically a dragon type monster, and banish a card from your opponent's graveyard. So maybe you're up against Blue Eyes and you need to deal with something in the graveyard, or Fire Kings, etc., etc. This can be useful for that. Dynatherium, a lesser used monster, but one that I still find to be very, very useful for auto dueling specifically. It's a level 4 monster. You can special summon this card from your hand, and then your opponent can special summon a monster from either player's graveyard that's a level 4. Now, this is so good when going up against the AI during auto duels just because it helps with easy OTKs. If you're trying to grind out gems, if you're trying to farm resources, the faster you beat the AI, the better. So getting more special summons off during your turn and dealing more damage is a great way to do that. For competitive, I don't necessarily recommend this card. I exclusively use it in auto dueling decks, but you can use it for whatever you want to. Amazoness Princess, a necessity if you're going to be building an Amazon deck. This is the linchpin of the archetype. It searches out the continuous trap and it basically holds the deck together. Very, very important. You can get various OG Ace monsters as well. If you're building Dark Magicians or Blue Eyes, that might be useful. I didn't feel the need to cover each of them individually because, I mean, come on, it's their normal monsters for the most part, so there you go. Likewise, if you plan on playing Cyber Dragons or Ancient Gears, you want to get these boss monsters out of here. Cyber End Dragon for piercing damage and just being a big body. Same goes for Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, actually. They're just linchpins of their respective archetypes, but you only need them if you're going into those archetypes. And if you're playing Resonators, Red Rising Dragon is essential. It is one of the best cards in the archetype, and it's completely free to play. You can just special summon tuners from the graveyard after this is synchro summon, and you just extend. You rise into other synchro monsters. It's really, really good. So those are all the URs done. Let's take a look at the SRs. If you're playing Toons for whatever reason, it goes without saying that Toon Dark Magician Grow would be essential. And Cyber Dragon Veer is good in some Cyber Dragon builds if you're interested in that kind of gameplay. Another interesting card is Dwarf Star Dragon Planeteer. I've seen this used in Dark Magician, and it's just a decent level 4 monster in my opinion. And then there's some more Toon monsters that you can pick up, Toon Mermaid, but alongside that is the Amazoness cards Sage and Tiger, which you will probably want in your Amazoness deck. Rose Archer is a very good hand trap for plant-based decks and strategies, but exclusively for plant decks such as Rika's, because if you have a plant card on the field, then you can negate your opponent's traps with this from the hand. Knight and Sorcerer can be used in Dark Magician Magician decks. I've tried it out a couple of times and it can miss the timing, but if it doesn't, when you special summon this card using Magician's Navigation, this card gets special summoned and then you can banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard, which is pretty good. Zombie World, one of the best cards you can get with tickets. All monsters on the field and in every graveyard becomes a zombie type monster. Neither player can tribute summon monsters except zombie type monsters. This can shut down entire decks and strategies, Noble Knights, Boojins, anything that relies on being a certain type. This hard counters. Wetlands isn't good, but like it boosts all level 2 water monsters by 1200 attack, so it's good like for Canadia spam decks and stuff like that. The Paleozoic archetype, as it were. It's not top tier in any regard, but if you're looking to have some fun with that, that is there for you. Speaking of not all that good, you have the Red Eyes cards, Red Eyes Instinct or Insight or whatever this is called, and then Red Eyes Spirit to bring your Red Eyes monsters back from the graveyard. If you're playing Red Eyes, you're probably going to want these cards, but don't play Red Eyes. Enemy Controller, great card for auto duels, and quite frankly, very good in a lot of decks just for like actual PvP play. The problem is it's limited to 2, so in a lot of good decks, it would contradict some things that they would also want to include in their deck list, but this is limited for a reason. It's a very good card. You can change your opponent's battle positions or just yoink their monsters for a turn, so it's actually great. Mystic Box can be used for some cheese plays. You destroy one of your opponent's monsters and then you permanently give them one of yours. So say you give them like an Acid Golem, that could really lock down their board and burn them each turn. It's mostly for meme strategies, but I mean, hey, memes are fun. Solemn Scolding, another amazing card that you can get just using a regular ranked ticket. You activate this card when your opponent does anything, and it's an Omni Negate. You pay 3,000 life points and you destroy that card. Now, the problem is this has to be the only set card you control in order to be activatable, so it's very situational, but also very good. Champion's Vigilance, if you control a level 7 or higher monster, so basically in a Blue Eyes or Dark Magician deck, you can just negate the summon or activation of a monster. You can negate spells. It's another Omni Negate, basically. It's limited to 1, but it's limited to 1 for a reason, so yeah. Skull Invitation and Solemn Wishes get honorable mentions because let's say you're trying to do the world missions and everything to rank up and they want you to do like 1,000 effect damage or gain so and so many life points. These cards can help you out with that, so I thought I'd just put that out there. Moving on to the regular rarity cards, there aren't that many worth mentioning. There's Elemental Hero Necrochet, which, I mean, it's here, right? It's decent for the hero. I don't even know if it's decent for the heroes, but it's a hero monster. It's here. I just thought I should tell you about it. There are various archetype specific cards you might find useful in here. If you're playing Blue Eyes, Ancient Rules. If you're playing Harpies, Elegant Egotist. If you're playing Gravekeepers, Hidden Temples of Necro Valley, all really good cards. Not to mention Storm, despite being limited to 1, is great back row removal. Power Sink Stone is an excellent card in Tri-Mits to negate your opponent's effects during their turn. And last but not least, we have Hallowed Life Barrier, which is in my opinion one of the most underrated free to play cards. Discard 1 card and during this turn, all battle damage you take becomes 0, which means not only can you not be killed, but your monsters can't be destroyed either because all damage is negated. It didn't happen. You can't be destroyed by battle. So that's just really, really good. I thought about it and I'm not going to go over the N rarity cards because there's nothing here for you. You shouldn't. What I do with these tickets is I choose 1 card specifically and I just spam get a bunch of them. That way I can transfer them all at once without having to go card to card, just to make it easier to get like resources for the card trader or something like that. They're not good. So those are the ranked tickets and what you can do with them and what you have on them. Like I said, there are some cards that aren't mentioned here and there are tickets that are different. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference between different tickets that you have and what they cover. It's also affected by the date at which you got the ticket and how far back it extends to, because not every single card would be covered by every single ticket, just depending on when the ticket was issued. Now, the KC Cup is currently ongoing, and I'm going to use that to show you what the prismatic UR tickets can get you, because, like I said, they're different from the regular tickets, and one of the biggest distinctions is you can get cards that are locked behind events using these cards. The same goes for the SR cards as well. Now, what's interesting is a card like Chronomaly Tula Guardian that was only obtainable during the event can be gotten using this ticket. A card like Harpy Oracle, same thing. The Gimmick Puppy cards, same thing. Doggy Diver, all of these cards that are locked behind events, maybe you missed them, maybe you didn't get to take part in them, you can get those cards and more, to be honest. You can get the Thunder Dragon Dog, you can get so many things. Lava Golem is on here. So the prismatic and the glossy UR tickets are some of the best ones. You've got Nightmare Shark on here. You've got Dark Magic Curtain on here. There's just so much more that you can get using the prismatic and the glossy versions of these cards. You just have a lot more at your disposal. There's cards from the Gaia archetype, there's cards from the Photon archetype that you can get using using these cards. This is something that I see a lot of people not realizing. Some people think that you would have to use a UR Dream Ticket to get a card like Harpy Oracle, but no, you can get it just using some of the special glossy and prismatic cards that the game gives you for free. So those are the cards to get with your expiring UR and SR tickets, not Dream Tickets, mind you. Use your Dream Tickets on box cards only. Always use Dream Tickets on box cards. It's the best value for your quote-unquote money. With that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope it helped you out in some way. If it did, please, once again, leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos of this nature that might help you out, or just have fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Have a great day, and bye.